Sister Sister is proudly sponsored by Gino. Gino truly cares.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to a brand new episode of Sister Sister right here on City TV. And if you're listening, it's 97.3 City FM. You already know this show is that show that helps you navigate through the problems of your relationships. When I'm talking about relationships, generally human relationships. And maybe if you have a pet and you want to complain about your pet, then yeah, you can also probably send that. As long as it's a relationship, we get to talk about it here on this show. I keep saying we because I would not be doing this alone. My sisters are here with me and we are going to be looking at letter to letter and find solution to each of the letters. But before I introduce my sisters, I just want to remind you that this show is brought to you by Gino because Gino truly cares. And also, if you want to send in your letters to us, all you need to do is send it via email at sistersisterislive@gmail.com. My name is Chris Carter. We'll take a quick break and we will be back. All right, welcome back. It's Sister Sister right here on City TV. And if you're listening, this is 97.3 City FM. All right, so I told you earlier on that I will introduce my sisters. Drum roll. Time for me to introduce my sisters. All right, lady in gold with a tone of brown. Everything all beautiful. Your skin looking like your clothes. I can keep on giving you encomium. Encomium they call it.
The vibe.
I can keep on doing that. Ooh. What's going on? Why is everything matchy all matchy?
I don't know. I was just in the mood for that, you know.
See your lips.
It's a golden era.
See your lips matching your skin and your the color.
And the nails.
Even the shoe. What's going on? Sicho.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, Sicho.
Hi, Chris.
Guys, you need to, if you're listening to us and you can't watch what we are talking about, Sicho is looking all good in, a tone of gold and brown and everything earthy, bronze.
Yes. Yes.
You look good,
it's a
girl.
vibe. You've got to feel it to catch it.
Looks like the show is going to be hot today because you came in with some heat. Yeah. All right, and we have Olivia.
Hi.
Olivia, you're looking nice.
Thank you.
How's work, Olivia?
Work is work. Oh gosh, whoever told you growing up was easy was lying.
Yes,
a liar,
right?
but yeah.
Right?
Gotta pay the bills, gotta make $1. So I mean a cedi.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully a pound and euros.
In Jesus' name.
Hallelujah. Please.
Amen.
Amen.
And joining us today all the way from Togo is actually a TV host and also a host of a lot of shows and a lot of events in Togo. And her name is Ama Alovora. Hi, Ama.
Ama Beatrice Alovora.
Oh, you always like to call the two things. Ama Beatrice Alovora. Ama, ça va?
Très bien, merci.
Bonjour.
Ça va. Hey, I see ladies, sisters are speaking in French.
Yeah.
Bravo, mesdames.
Sicho, before we continue, say something in French.
Je m'appelle Sichopa Chico.
Okay. Bienvenue.
Merci.
Je parle français un peu.
And obviously, Olivia, you have a little bit of French at home, so can you give us?
It's been 20 years of my husband teaching me, Charlie. Okay. Just passablement.
Oui.
And I know grâce à Dieu.
Oh là là. Embouteillage.
Okay.
Embouteillage ici à Accra.
Mais il n'y a pas d'embouteillage, non? Tu as vu un peu?
Un peu quand même embouteillage.
Un peu.
I came this morning and there was like, but it's okay.
All right, so if you're wondering what we're talking about traffic. Embouteillage means traffic.
Yeah.
And I just actually she experienced some traffic. She like just a little bit because she came in this.
Normally when you come to Ghana, you're like, Ghana is great, but embouteillage is a lot.
Yeah.
Like traffic jam too
Especially
much.
in Accra.
Yeah, don't.
When you guys say this, Wait,
embouteillage.
Citra, you know Lagos. We need to take them to Lagos.
Yeah.
No,
Maybe,
yes.
I
Yes.
like 10
What?
times.
No, no. I don't even
Anyway.
want to go there.
Times.
Let's
We've been to France, Lagos, and all in one intro.
All right, guys. All right, ladies. So I think it's time for us to get into the stories. Let us, keep aside the car traffic and get into our letter traffics right now.
Yes.
So we have some letters, waiting for us. So let's get right into it. So our first letter goes like this. My boyfriend is in dire need of money. I don't know what happened to his money, but one night he called me asking for a loan. I asked what he needed the loan for, and he couldn't explain. A day later, when he came again, he came with an explanation that sounded too good to be true. He said that he needed the money for a business and he is going to pay back in a week. What kind of business? He didn't want to answer. He knows I have the money, but I'm very careful with my money because I've been totally broke before. I told him I wouldn't let my money go until I knew the specifics. He put me under acute pressure to give him just half of the amount. I didn't, so he walked out of my door, and now he doesn't pick my calls until I call 1,000,000 times. He's accusing me of not being helpful and telling me he could have done that for me if the tables were turned. I know what money can do. It can break blood relations. So who are lovers that money can break us apart? It's been weeks. He still wants the money. It's the reason he doesn't talk to me freely or even visit. When I call, he doesn't pick up. He'll later tell me he was busy looking for the money that I wouldn't give him. Should I? It's money we're talking about here. I'm scared. Sisters. All right. Sicha, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on this letter?
Okay. You see, first things first. He needed the money. He mentioned to you that he needed the money. You asked him what exactly he was going to use the money for. He was not forthcoming with what he was going to use the money for. And as a man, the onus is lying on him to provide for the relationship. Not to say that every time that's supposed to be your job, but if the tables are turned, at least the least you can give is an explanation as to what you need the money for. Is it for a business? Is it for anything? And any supportive woman would honestly be willing to give you, if that is the case, if you're going to use it for a business and then you're going to make profits of it at the end of the day. But if the man is not willing to tell you what it is, then it means he's not trusting of you enough as a girlfriend to be willing to share what exactly he's going to use the money for. Because even if it was his own money, he still needs to tell you what he's going to use the money for, or what he's going to get himself involved in, to be able to probably get your advice or anything else. If he's not willing to do that, and again, your instinct is also not allowing you to give him. I think these are two red flags for you to not give him. And if he wants to not pick your calls because of that, good riddance to bad rubbish, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's no two ways about it.
Right.
Some of these things, you will regret it at the end of the day because something was nudging you not to do it, and you went ahead regardless to do it. So if she's feeling that funny and that type of a way, she should totally not give him. And if he doesn't want to pick her calls because of that, bye-bye.
Right.
Yeah.
So Amma, what are your thoughts?
Well, excuse me, was it her ex-boyfriend or her brother? I don't like
Her boyfriend.
her boyfriend.
Right.
No, to tell you the truth, we women, I think we're God. If God had a gender, or how do you say this?
Yeah, a
I
gender.
think, because we really have this something that we can feel the vibration. I don't know this person, but I feel that this guy is so fake. And I'm sure that this lady, I will give her the advice not to give her the money because you feel it that there's something behind. You know, if I am in need of money, like you said, he was in need of that money. You open your heart, you get down on your knees, you cry, or you tell your heart, please, Mama, I need that money because this. Maybe you don't have to tell all the truth, but at least say something.
Tell all the truth.
Yes, because you really need it. You know how it is. But here we really feel that, and that type of negative pressure that he's now calling. He calls 100 times, and then you feel that something's, the snake is in. Yeah.
All right, Olivia.
I agree. I couldn't agree anymore. Because for me, it's like he is in need. He doesn't have the money, yet he has the nerve to give you attitude. And he doesn't even think that he owes you that respect to be even able to explain to you what he's going to use your money for. Charlie, like so many red boxes. Like, it's your money. You've worked so hard for it. You've earned it. You deserve an explanation as to where it's going, why it's going, and you know, you deserve it because you hold yourself accountable. And that's a good characteristic to have. It means that he doesn't think that he needs to hold, like he doesn't feel any sense of responsibility. So now I'm even beginning to feel like, would he appreciate the money that you would give to him? Would he even feel like he's accountable enough, you know, to use the money that you're giving to him? It's like, okay, you're giving it to me. At the end of the day, giving Ghana owes, so I can decide whether I want to pay you or I don't want to pay you.
Absolutely.
So, sweetheart, you know, I think that you should, I mean, we're all singing the same song. Go with your instincts. If you think you don't want to give it to him, don't give it to him. And if he doesn't want to call you, like the French will say, tant pis.
Very good. And you know the funny thing, and you know, the funny thing is, even when you go to the bank to go and take a loan, you would have to give explanation as to what exactly you are going to use the money for. You can't be expecting to just go to somebody, a woman you are in a relationship with, and expect that because of that. I mean, even we women, when we are asking men for money,
absolutely,
you tell them what you're going to use the money for.
And you know, I'm recalling like a little sentence that you said, that when you call, he's not answering. He's like, I'm busy searching for the money that you did not give me. In French, we call those type of person pervers narcissique. I don't know in French.
Narcissistic person.
Person. Absolutely, because he's doing everything so that you can feel, you know,
guilty.
You know how it is. No for me. No for me. No.
Honestly, all of us. Honestly, you really don't owe him jack. You don't owe him jack, and that is how you know who, like, whether he has your interest at heart. Assuming that you actually, and you're just boyfriend, girlfriend, and he feels like he's in the position to sort of like blackmail you.
It
you
sounds like that.
So you can imagine if how many years down the line you decide to actually marry him, and you know, he takes your money and he feels at the end of the day, you're my wife, you know, I will use my money. This is what happens, and this is one of the many reasons why some women do not trust their partners with money, because they will be tiring and suffering with their partners, and by the time you realize their boyfriends and husbands have used the money, their little savings, they've used it to go and build some house for some chick, for somebody else. And for me, this is like a big red flag. You know, some of the things that we need to ask ourselves, especially when we're embarking on the journey of relationship, some of the things we need to watch out for: finances, the temperament of your partner, whether he's loyal, whether he's loving, whether he's kind, whether he's God-fearing. And money is one of the most important things to look out for. What kind of partner are you going to marry? Are they spendthrift? Are they very economical with their money? Are they givers? And this is a really, really big red flag. And honestly, this is your saving grace. This is a blessing in disguise. Just clear the person off your list. If it's money, and the question is, are they in the relationship with you because of the money that you have? So if you didn't have the money, why would they be in a relationship? Aren't you worth more than just money? So if you don't have the money to give him, then he thinks that you're of no value to him. Sweetheart, sit back, look at this whole thing, reflect, and honestly, this, like, you don't need this kind of negative energy or negative person in your space.
Another thing, my sisters, we've spoken about that, has just occurred to me too, is the fact that, you see, sometimes you're able to tell a person's true character by how they behave when they don't get the things they want from you. This is indicative of his behavior now that he didn't get the money.
Because you're not giving me I won't pick your call.
I don't care what anybody says. As genders, God created all of us with different positions and things we are supposed to do. And I think a man's place is to provide. It is in rare cases where you are not able to provide that the woman then jumps in. If already in the earliest in the relationship you are not able to provide, I mean, it's red flag for me. Honestly, go back to the drawing board and fix yourself.
But sisters, you know, it brings me to ask the question, just like you were saying, my dear, when you're in a relationship, isn't the money, because it's a very big, how do you say this, issue, problem, isn't it better also, because everything goes through communication, and most of we women or men, when we are in a couple or in a relationship, we do not communicate on those type of serious things. You know how it is. So maybe I think it's also a thing that we can start doing by start talking about those issues, finances, and try to see how we can cope it up, so that if ever today I'm in need or tomorrow you're in need or whatever, how can we do this?
How can we help each other?
Yeah, because in relationships, really, sisters, I've seen it, even me, you know, in my personal life, it's really complicated when it comes to finances. Sometimes you're with the guy for like 4, 5, 6 years, and he's like, hey babe, voila, I need to talk to you, I'm in a dip, voila, and you're the only one that can help me here. What do? You know, you love him, you maybe have kids, you're committed, what do you do? So sometimes it's very complicated.
I honestly don't think it should be that complicated. We humans have made it so, because if you're in a relationship with someone, my belief is we are open with each other, we are communicating with each other on every single topic. Therefore, even money can be discussed even at the earliest in the relationship, to the point where we all know that, okay, fine, this is our financial capability to do A, B, C, D. Now, if we get to this point where I'm stuck or you are stuck, I'll jump in to help you. But whatever it is, I know your state, your level of income that you get in, whatever it is, I'm fully aware of it. Because it also even helps when a woman is becoming overly demanding. Then you are able to tell. Because otherwise, if I see that you're driving a Lexus, for example, and I come in and ask you to probably go and start a business that needs an initial capital of 5,000 cedis. Really, it shouldn't be a big deal. Or 10,000 or 20,000. It shouldn't
normally.
Normally, based on what you see. But then again, if the person now explains to you, oh, this Lexus is even based on a loan that I'm paying for this and this and this, you're open to the person. They are aware of whatever is coming in. So when they are also making demands, that's just one side of it. Then the other side is when an issue comes up, because they know what, let's say, what business you are into, whatever it is you are doing, how money comes in and how money goes out. When you go and now say, babe, I need your help. Olivia, I need your help to do A, B, C, D, because I'm stuck here. They know exactly what it is they are supporting you with. Vis-a-vis you not telling me anything, and then you expect me to just come and throw.
And you know, I also feel like, in as much as we all like equality sometimes, do you understand? You know, when it comes to relationships, it's never about being equal. At the end of the day, it's about one goal, and that goal is having 100. Today you can have the man can have 70 today, and you have 30. You can have 70 today. You understand? So, in as much as relationships are like that, still, I feel like it's important to communicate about finances. And because we do not communicate about finances in Africa,
complicated.
We make it hard.
Because for me, like, I had the opportunity to, my husband was very giving. When I met him, right, it was interesting. Recently, we were having this conversation with the kids in the car. We're talking about this whole spending thing. And it was interesting to know how we started off our relationship. When he gets paid, right, he would literally bring his salary and say, babe, this is the money. And when we were, at some point in time, he used his money to pay my fees when I was growing up, and I used my money to also pay his fees. But what I'm saying is that the conversation was so open that at every point in time, I know that, okay, even though it seems like separate accounts, it's a joint account, because I know that I'm bringing, for example, £2,000 at the end of the day. He's bringing £2,500 at the end of the day. We know that this is how much we have. This is how much we're spending on mortgage. This is how much we're spending on this. This is how much we're spending on that. So when a problem comes in, or we know that, oh, there's something that comes in, you both know at every point in time that, okay, this is a challenge that we both need to solve. At the end of the day, everybody is being giving. It's not like only one side. It's not like I'm like, give me, and then he's like, take. It's like a clear, open table. We know that these are our priorities. This is what we're supposed to. So everybody at every point in time is on the same page. And that's how come you even get to know your partner, whether they spend too much, whether they don't spend too much. And that's where you get to talk to them from a loving perspective, depending on what your overall goals are as a couple.
So I like the fact you said loving perspective, because as we can all see with this scenario, in as much as maybe the man must have been great, but I feel like he was faking. In the sense that when it was now time for, okay, I can't give you the money right now until you tell me what you need, he started showing his true colors.
And he's so immature. Who does that? I won't pick your calls up because you're not giving me money.
Did you ever watch Tinder Swindler?
Yes, it's like Tinder Swindler.
He will be giving you
Tinder
the
Swindler.
day he makes a demand of you, it's huge. You feel indebted to him. You go and carry all your money, and then you get into there and give it to him.
Right.
So sometimes people have all sorts of
manipulative
tactics they use.
Absolutely.
Right. I think if her instincts are telling her don't do it, please don't do it.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be looking at our second letter. Welcome back. Mr. Sister right here on City TV, and if you're listening, it's 97.3 City FM. Right, we got into our first letter and then we discussed this. Now we're getting into our second letter. All right, our second letter goes like this. Dear sisters, my 10-year-old son loves and respects my fiancé than my ex-husband, who is his biological father. My ex-husband was an abusive man. Although he took care of my son and I, and made sure we never lacked anything in life. This man will abuse me physically and verbally at any time. He will always remind me of how I came out of nothing and hope he has brought me into a well-to-do family and also have given me an outstanding surname. I will not lie about this. My ex-husband's family are very notable and important in the Ghanaian society, and every woman will love to be associated with them. We were married for 12 years, but along the line, I just couldn't take the abuse, disrespect, and shame anymore. On top of being an abusive husband, he was jealous too. He hated men complimenting me and doing business with me. For this reason, he made me a complete housewife because he said he didn't want me to be close to other men. My son was 6 years then when all the abuse started, but I think he saw everything that his biological father put me through. And so when we divorced, I remember my son coming to hug me and saying, "Mommy, I am happy. Daddy won't beat you again." This horrifying experience has stuck with my son till date and has made him very observant about men who come around me. I've been seeing my fiancé for almost 2 years now, and I must confess, the bond between him and my son is just unbreakable. Initially, I was scared of how my son will react because now he is 10 years old and knows what is happening around him. But my fears disappeared because the bond between my fiancé and my son is beautiful. He literally calls him dad when he doesn't even regard his biological father as his dad. My son doesn't even like to go to visit his biological dad, and my ex-husband thinks I've turned him against him. But honestly, I've got nothing to do with that. Sisters, my fiancé and my son will go out to play games, watch movies, go shopping, and many more. Their bond is really adorable. Last week, my ex-husband came to our house to create a scene in the presence of my fiancé and our son, and told him he doesn't want to see him again because he is not his father. Sisters, what should I do? Whatever it is, he's our son. How do I convince my son to have a second thought about his dad? This actually is heavy.
Very.
Very, very heavy. It's because of the amount of abuse that, was mentioned. Not just physical, but we hear about verbal, and basically all that together is emotional abuse too. So the 3 sorts of abuse. And having to deal with looking at your son, you know, and thinking, how will this boy grow up and how will he feel about men around me? That's a lot to carry for a woman. Sicho. Okay, Sicho, I'm starting with you because obviously we know that you actually...
I'm very passionate about it.
Yes, and you premiered a movie about this issue. So, yeah.
You see, you mentioned 3 types of abuse, but there's also psychological abuse with all this, because once some of these things happen to you, it goes into a deeper space in your mind. It's not just the emotions and the physical and the verbal. Once somebody even once you abuse someone verbally,
it's gone somewhere. Yeah.
I will break it down into 3 different areas so that we can look at it holistically. First of all, I don't even want to speak about the Bible here because that has not got anything to do with it, but there's a little bit of the Bible that I want to talk about, which is the spirit of discernment. When we meet people, I always tell people that personally, every time the few times in my earlier on life when I have experienced abuse, now when I sit back in retrospect, I always say some of the signs were all over on the wall. I just decided not to see it. You see? And so I blame myself.
Sure.
Because once you're able to take on the contribution you made to whatever is happening now, you're able to now heal and not have the same thing repeat itself again.
Yes.
First of all, when you go into a marriage or into a relationship based on name, because she mentioned this in her letter, so I think it was relevant to her or important to her at the time she was going to get married to this man. His name, his stance in society,
his status, his rich,
who he is, his financial capabilities. All those were something that he considered before he went into the relationship. I don't think he considered some of the innate attributes that a man should have for you to say, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person, which is what marriage is all about in Because is he kind? Is he mindful towards you even when he's angry? Is he thoughtful? Is he gentle? Clearly she didn't look at all this. She just went into the marriage because she already also stated that the man always says he picked her from nowhere. Which means you know that, okay, because I am quote unquote a nobody, let me get myself attached or married to this man
so that I can be somebody through him.
Once that is a reason for you to go into any relationship with, everything is already messed up. Because then now, once people see your weakness, it's easier for them to use it against you, and this is what she's done. She's made it obvious that, oh, I was a nobody and you came and picked me and you've made me this. Now let's go to 2. I'm very proud of her that she worked out of this eventually at some point, because that is one thing we think children don't see, even babies feel. I always tell people, when your child, even as a baby, 2 months old, 1 month, whatever, they don't want to go to someone, you are giving them to an auntie, an uncle, and they don't want to go. Please don't do it. Children feel things. Children see. They are the most observant creatures ever. There was a video I was watching recently on was it YouTube or Instagram, one of those. And there was this old man who was walking like that to the bathroom. And then there's a little baby, he must have been like 1 year old. And he was also walking like that. You know, it was so funny. Kids are very, very, very observant. And they mimic everything that we do. I'm very happy that her son does not like this man, because he's noticed the kind of man he is. And he doesn't want to follow in those same footsteps. I'm sure. And he knows right from wrong. At 6 years old, 7 or 10, he knows right from wrong. And he knows that daddy abusing mommy is just wrong. And he's willing to take a stance on it. That's a child with integrity and absolute honor. I'll give him and her all that. Now, thirdly, to this man, your ex-husband, who is now trying to come back into the picture to mess up what you have by trying to fight with this other man that she's not the father of the child, blah blah blah. I think even though she's walked out of the relationship, there's still a part of her that needs to fully heal and needs to fully come to the realization that she's entered into a new life and to take full charge of that. Because you shouldn't even allow that to happen, where your ex has the nerve, the effrontery to come and speak to your fiance, right?
Yes.
Like that. It is wrong. It is unacceptable. If knowing that is how he behaves like a child, You shouldn't allow him into your home space. If he wants to see his child, you take his child to him. If he wants to return the child, you go for your child. You don't allow him to interface with this new guy, because what happens is this new guy is trying to respect himself, trying to respect you, and therefore will not disrespect and respect the child. And respect the child. So when these things are happening, he may not be able to say anything. He will just be quiet and be watching. But you, because you are also the woman and you know how abusive he is, and you may not necessarily say anything in this whole banter, you have disrespected the new guy. So the only way out of such instances is take your son there, bring your son back. Don't let him interface with this man. Don't give him any room to disrespect this man.
Sister, excuse me, can I make a pause on this?
Yeah.
What you're saying, I'm totally okay with that. But there, I'm going to stop you. Because what you're talking now once again with your eyes and your perspective. And this lady, the fact that after all she has said, she's asking, what did she say at the last sentence? What was the question? Excuse me?
Yeah, she said, how can she make her son not to hate the father? Yeah.
So I can feel in that woman that she is still... She does not have the insurance that you have now, talking like you are, you know. I can feel that this woman, just like you said in the beginning, she was nobody. The guy, you know, he made her feel that she was nobody. So I feel that she was the minus and he was the plus. So she had to, you know, grow to his, she has to stick with him so that she be also, absolutely. But I personally think that if we open that lady like a book, I'm sure that inside her, it's like cotton.
She's still not healed.
She's not healed at all, even till today. Though she has her new guy who's very handsome, who's superb with her and the child, but she's insecure. She is too insecure.
That's why I said she should heal.
That process now, that process, you know, because what's happening, I've been in the same situation at a certain part of my life, but I had that you see what you said. She should not let the guy come. She should see the baby. If he wants to see outside, It's because I don't know what I did to myself, but I, you know, got to heal myself every day a little bit. So I had that confidence and that insurance, and I showed and I explained to the man, aloha, you're not coming to me, I'm bringing the kids to you. And he was really shocked because I was very insecure for a lot of, you know, voila. But when he saw that, he was so shocked. He couldn't believe that,
this person I used to be like this.
The switching, but it was an everyday healing. And that healing, Mama, if you don't do it by yourself,
if you don't do that work, you will forever.
One or two people that can help you forever and ever, you'll be inside. Tu vois?
It's so sad, and I'm thankful to God for shows like this, because sometimes most of the time God uses us as vessels to be able to speak to you. And thank you so much for bringing in your submission, because maybe, like the sisters are saying, genuinely you are so soft inside that you don't honestly know what to do. So thank you for bringing it here. Shake it all up. You know, shake yourself all up and know that you are worth it. You are worth it. You are worthy. You are valued. You are loved. And the reason why I'm also passionate, maybe I may not have experienced abuse the way you have and you have, but I've experienced it through the lenses of my mother, and growing up and seeing what my daddy took my mommy through, and the way we looked at her, and we just hoped that she would just get up one day and just give our dad her peace of mind and just, you know, move. Because he used to work with the UN, and the UN gives tons of benefits to their wives. He was a diplomat, and the benefits that my mother was supposed to have gotten, we should have gone to diplomatic schools, we should have traveled all around the world. In the beginning of the relationship, we did a bit of that until this woman came to visualize him. If you know, you know. But basically, she should have known her rights. So sometimes, you know how the Bible says that because of lack of knowledge, my people perish. Sometimes you should know your worth. You should know who you are. You should know what your expectations are in life, and you should have some kind of value, something that defines you as a person. So that you see, this guy has been abusive towards you, and now he has the nerve to come back into your relationship and make your son feel even less, and tell your son that, you know, you are not his father. Like, who does that? Is he 2 years old? For crying out loud, this child has gone through so much. Your worry right now should not be what this,
who the child chooses to see as a father.
This guy, I want to give him an adjective, but I can't use the adjective on TV. You know, your problem is not to worry about this crazy guy. Your worry is to focus on your son, is to encourage him, is to tell him that, listen, it's not every father who deposits sperm.
Some are fathers and some are dads.
Exactly. There are men out there who literally take on other people's children, and they are the most amazing fathers ever. The fact that their DNA is not intertwined with yours does not mean that they are not fathers. And there are fathers who just donate sperm and they are so irresponsible, it's so annoying. So your focus right now, I believe, should be your son. Is to give him a role model, is to give him something to look forward to. Is it like he knows right from wrong? And just like Citra rightly said, he knows he doesn't want to be abusive. He knows he doesn't want that kind of negativity around him. And for once in his life, he actually has some kind of hope, which happens to be this your new fiancé. If I were you, let bygones be bygones. Let this guy out of your life. Block him. If push comes to shove, he wants to see, okay, he should, you know, arrange for your child to be seen. But your focus right now is to be happy, because, honey bunny, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved, and you deserve all the good things in life for yourself and for your son. So just focus on that. And never ever listen to anybody who thinks that you are a charity case, because you are not a charity case. And position yourself in such a manner that when this guy of yours sees you, he should regret. You see, they say the best revenge in life is what? Moving on and living your life. Best revenge is just live your life, loving yourself, doing so well that your enemy sees you and they just hate that. So if you need to add some value to yourself, if you need to go to school, if you need to get into some kind of business, if you need to like reorient yourself, get yourself into some space whereby you are actually of value, so that nobody would look down on you, so that when you stand out there and you are confident, your son knows that my mother is a strong, confident woman. She can bring it to the table. She does not need any man to really survive. With or without a man, my mommy will make it. So what you're going to do is that you bring on your 100%. Your new fiance also brings in his 100%, and you guys raise a beautiful family together.
So what I can see that is her problem is that she's trying to be a good woman. She's trying to be the definition of what society wants good women to be. She doesn't want to be the woman that people will point at and say that, okay, you are turning the child against his father. That's her fear. That's her biggest fear. But at the end of the day, I mean, like, for me, when it comes to my own experience, I don't see it as turning the child against the father, especially for the fact that the child can see.
Exactly.
The child can see what's going on
himself.
So, like, if the child can see what's going on, the child is not stupid. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
So I don't think she should be afraid in that manner.
Let me jump
let
in
it
a
just
bit
flow.
based on personal experience, and I say this really to people all the time. You see, our fears are born out of something. Sometimes based on experiences. I always say personally, when I was growing up, I used to be very rebellious, especially with my mom, because I told you the other time, my dad is Nigerian, and once she and my mom got divorced, and she was coming to Ghana, with me to Ghana. So I never really grew up having an experience with my dad. Like after 9 years, that was it. I hadn't seen him. All I was doing was writing letters. And it really got to me because I wanted to have that experience with my dad. And so for me personally, growing up, I knew that if I'm in a relationship with someone, whatever it is that goes wrong, I feel like the child should be allowed to have an experience or a relationship with their father. To him, he is father. To you, he is ex-husband or ex-boyfriend or whatever. You should not mix the two, because then you are hurting your children in the process. It is different if the child does not want to have a relationship with the father. You shouldn't meddle with that. But I also think there's a part of us as Christians that should not hold on to things, to grudges. So you can say to your child, when it's time to see your dad,
you can
go and see him. He's your father. You talk to him so that he's not holding on to any animosity whatsoever. So even with my children, they go to see my ex. They have a relationship, because I knew from get-go, I didn't want that for my children. I didn't want where they're always thinking, oh, why is that mommy doesn't allow us to go and see daddy? Like it's just too much work. Too much headache to put on a child.
Absolutely.
It is not fair also on them that whatever experience you had with their father, because of that, they have lost out on having whatever experience you had with your ex. Because of that, they've lost out on an experience with their father. Because to them, he's father. He's not abused them. He's abused you, and they've seen it. He's been an infant about it, and therefore it's affected them also. But he is still their father. And the Bible says we should honor our mothers and fathers. Therefore, your duty is to make sure your child is honoring you and honoring his father. So for me, so long as a mother, you are able to do that due diligence, take that box, but do it in a way that the other guy, the new guy, is not affected. I'm okay. That's what I'm saying. Let him go and see his father. The father is not allowed into your new home where you are trying to build with your new fiance. But let's not take our animosities as mothers to the men.
Right.
To the men.
Right. But do you think it's the what if the child doesn't want to go to the father?
Then that's a different thing. But still, I always advise that.
I don't like to force children.
I always advise that have a relationship with your father. You may think it means nothing now. Joyce Meyer spoke about this thing one time when she was preaching. I listened to her a lot. And she was talking about how her father used to rape her when she was a kid and blah, blah, blah. And then at some point when she had become a minister, God spoke to her that she should buy a house for her parents, because her mother too watched and did nothing about it for so many years. But when her father got sick and all that, God spoke to her that she should go and take it, because at the end of the day, that is your duty. You see, when you mix things up in your mind, you are not able to decipher and do what God is telling you to do in every instance, and it's a problem. You know, so for me, I always sit back and say, let's break the whole thing down. How are we going to tackle this to make sure that you've dealt with it problem after problem, one by one, so that you've not mixed everything up and put it in one big sack of bag and carrying around. It becomes a burden. It becomes a burden.
It's really not easy.
It's not easy. It's when somebody abuses you or you watch somebody go through it's a different feeling.
That's why they say.
And when you've not healed, when you've not healed, it is the women who have not healed that behave like that. And your father is a wicked man. Then they try to infiltrate all kinds of negativity into the child. It's all not needed.
But you know, I actually appreciate the fact that she's not trying to make the child hate the father.
It's this guy who's coming around to
rather it's the father that is showing his negativity. And
I respect her for that.
And you know, when that happens and the child says, okay, I don't want to get close to you again, just know that as a woman, I don't think you caused it.
You didn't. But you can lovingly advise, because as a mother, your role is still to advise and train up this child so that he's not holding hatred towards anybody.
Because you know what the kids don't know is that indirectly, when you hate someone so much, you end up being exactly who they are without not knowing, without knowing. So you I completely agree with you. You need to sort of inculcate a spirit of love into this child for the father and leave the rest to God, for God to deal with, because then once you fill the child's heart with so much love, they know nothing else to do.
And that's what they exude into the world.
You know, sisters, what you're saying, it's so true. You know, en français, on dit c'est si vrai, but I always have a but, I'm sorry. Because when I even see, for example, our mothers or our grandmothers, you know, as a human being, it's true that I had to do that with my kids. It was not easy, but I had to talk to myself, to make peace with myself, because you really, you know, when you go through some things, you're a human being, you have emotions, you know, you have feelings, and sometimes it just, you want to even just
there's a rage.
There's a rage, you know, and at the same time, dealing with that inner rage that you have, and dealing, you know, going through that journey to be this great lady that you're saying, so that she has to, you know, separate things, etc. for the kids. It's not always very easy. And I can tell that when I listen to some women, I'm telling you, they have a lot of rage.
Yeah.
And it's a little of these women that they can contain that rage, and some they don't even know how to deal with it, so it goes everywhere. You know, and they talk really bad to their kids about their dad, because they cannot heal, they cannot control, they don't know how to do this. It's complicated. But I know that once you heal, or you try to heal, and once you know how to separate things very well, it's magic. Because when you look at your kids, when you see who you are, what you have, you know, this man has done to you, and then when you see how you try to cope with that with your kids, to give them the good part of the picture, you're proud. You know, but it's not easy.
On that note, that's why I think it's important that we actually say thank you to this lady that actually sent this to us.
It's a very detailed.
Yeah, because it's a very like you said, it's very detailed, and like everybody has said, I think it's important for you to heal. I mean, you're on the journey. You're doing well.
You're doing fantastic.
You're doing fantastic, but you still need to push more. All right, you still need to push more, and do not beat yourself. But anyway, thank you, sisters, so much for being part of this show today, and thank you, Amma, coming all the way from Togo to join us. I mean, she watches us, and
Nice to have you.
so yeah, it's nice to have her here with us, and really it's been interesting. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, I will be sharing my final thoughts. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, sister. And yeah, we actually had to go through 2 letters, and the sisters, you know, shared their thoughts on everything. And I think it's been an amazing show, but obviously I wouldn't let you go without me sharing my thoughts. All right, let me talk about the first letter. Young man is in need of money so badly, and he decides to ask his girlfriend, and when the girlfriend says, okay, I need to know what you're doing with this money, young man is given attitude. First of all, a big thank you to the lady that sent this letter. All I can say is, please don't give him the money. If your instinct tells you that do not give him the money, please do not give him the money. Because for the fact that he couldn't even share what exactly he needed the money for, it's problematic. And I'm sure for you to feel whatever that you're feeling inside, like you keep on having that strong feeling of wanting to know why you want the money, of feeling strange about giving him money, please do not give him the money. It's your inner spirit talking to you. And I feel like sometimes your conscience, your inner spirit, whatever that, I mean, your conscience, your inner spirit, whatever that we want to call it, that thing inside, that little voice is, you know, it's very important for us to listen to it. And yeah, so this is one of those situations. So I agree with the sisters to not give him that money. And for the fact that he also tried to be manipulative about the whole thing, saying that he's not picking up your call just because he's looking for the money that you refuse to give him. Come on, as if you owe him something. That already is a red flag. And like we always say, sometimes we see the red flags and we want to ignore it. Please, it's time for us not to be ignoring these red flags. You already can see that this is wrong. He has no right to manipulate you. And obviously, like one of the sisters said, that's some very narcissistic tendencies. Please do not give him that money. If he wants to go, he should go. Remember, there are 8 billion people in the world right now. So that means there are a lot of single men out there also trying to look for love just like you do. Anyway, the second letter, let's get into it. So the second letter about young lady being in an abusive relationship, an abusive marriage, and you know, and there's a kid involved and there's a new man involved and all that. All I can say is you're doing well. You are definitely healing. You have moved on, which I think is a good thing, because there are a lot of people that still hang on to things. Although there's a little bit of hanging on in there, and probably that just comes from insecurity. I just think you should just work on getting fully better. But you are doing well, because there are people like you out there that have not decided to move on, that are still holding on to old things. But there's a new man look at the brighter side of things. There's a new man that has a good relationship with your son. So yeah, that's something great to think about. That's something great to be happy about. And talking about your ex-husband and his son's relationship, I think, well done in trying to be a great mother. Well done in trying not to poison the kid or trying not to influence the thoughts the kid has towards the father. I mean, from everything you just explained, it's clear that the kid can see everything that the father did to you. So yes, there will be there will be a bit of animosity between that kid and his father, especially coming from the kid's perspective. The best you can do as a mother is just, okay, you know what? I think it's important for you to have a relationship with your father. I mean, that's the best you can do. You cannot force them, but you can only do what you can do. You understand? So I think you should quit worrying about that. When the time comes, everything will fall into place. If he keeps showing his negative attitude, whatever, for me, I feel like whatever environment that he creates between him and his son, I mean, I always say they are the adult and those are kids. What are you going to do with the kid? An adult has to be an adult. So whatever environment that he decides to create with him and his kid, that's up to him. There is always a price to pay for everything at the end of the day. So, but you are doing well, and I'm sorry for everything that you went through, the abuse, and just keep on getting better, keep on healing yourself, and know that, you know, life is, you know, for the living. So enjoy yourself and be happy and take care of your kid. But anyway, thank you to each and every one of you that tuned in. This has been a great show, and a very big thank you to Gino for sponsoring this show, because Gino truly cares. My name is Chris Carter, and this has been Sister Sister.
Sister Sister is proudly sponsored by Gino. Gino truly cares.